sound speeds, and in this episode we're going to review two products from a company called Cloud Microphones, specifically the Cloudlifter CL-1 and the CL-Z. Both of these are dynamic tube and ribbon microphone activators, which means that they use phantom power and adjusting the impedance a little bit to create about 25 dB of clean gain. Here's what the Cloudlifters are doing. Cloudlifters contain a discrete JFET circuit. As the phantom powered signal enters, it passes through a capacitor and internal resistor. As the microphone signal increases, the transistor allows more 48 volt current to flow, and the output signal will be higher once brought back down to 5 volts. Now, some people online claim that they do not actually work. All it does is boost the gain and change the timbre of the microphone, and you don't actually realize it because you want to believe that they work. So in this review, we're going to not just test them and see how effective they are, we're going to test and see if they actually do anything at all. Full disclosure, Cloud Microphones did send me these to review. So to test these microphones, we're going to be using the Shure SM7B, and we're running it completely flat. As you know, normally I don't just stick a microphone in my face, because on this YouTube channel, we don't just discuss the sound of voiceover or gaming. We actually discuss all aspects of sound. So we just want to make sure we have good sounding sound. We don't really care about having a microphone visible, but we do use multiple microphones on this show, just to let you know. But for our purposes today, we're going to be using this industry standard SM7B microphone. Now, why I say it's industry standard is it is a very famous, it's called a legendary microphone. And you know, for example, the SM7, which is the parent of the SM7B and the SM7A microphone, it was the one used by Michael Jackson on his Thriller album. Now, okay, that means that what? This microphone has a history, yes. And as a matter of fact, the SM5 microphone used to be used in feature films and on television shows. But does that reputation really matter anymore? And the answer is not really. And the reason is because there are so many different manufacturers making so many different kinds of microphones for so many different kinds of projects. And there are many, many different microphones that are going to sound great for whatever project you're working on. So it's not just like, oh, you want to use this one microphone because it is the legendary microphone. It happens to have a history. That's what makes it legendary. Is it the very best microphone to use this day and age? That's up to you to decide. I'm not going to say yes. I will say this, though. I don't use this one on my channel as my primary microphone. Well, not because it's a bad sounding mic, but because I don't feel like it flatters my voice in the way that I feel like I want my voice to sound on the YouTube channel. So let's get into this actual microphone and the way it sounds by itself without any Cloudlifter on there. You are now listening to the SM7B microphone right in front of me. This is a dynamic microphone that you can buy online for about $400. Now, this microphone is dynamic, but the principles we're going into can also work for tube and ribbon microphones. Now, these microphones do not require power. If you put phantom power to them, dynamic microphones are probably not going to be hurt. Tube microphones, depending on the one, could be hurt from it. And ribbon microphones, you don't want to risk it because it will most likely break the ribbon. Although a dynamic tube or ribbon microphone does not require power, if you use a Cloudlifter in line before the mic, it does require phantom power in order to activate and power the Cloudlifter. For right now, I'm talking into this mic so you can hear it by itself the way it normally sounds. Now, if I suddenly go quiet, that's how this microphone sounds unprocessed. That's no background noise cancellation. That's no filtering or anything. No noise gate. It's all disabled. What you're listening to is the raw microphone, the SM7B microphone, the way it is coming straight out of the microphone. Now, depending on the preamps that you have in your system, you could end up pushing it pretty hard gain-wise to the microphone in order to get a decent level out of it. And the higher you push that preamp, the more you're going to be introducing noise to the system. Not just because the background noise comes up as you increase gain, but because as you start to max out, let's say your maximum is 60 dB, if you get to 59, it's starting to push that tech pretty hard, and it's going to naturally get a little noisier as you start getting near the peak. Now, I on this channel record on a Sound Devices Mix Pre 6. I have plenty of gain that I can pull from, and I'm not going to ever start introducing the amount of gain that you're going to really have to start throwing off this particular test that we're going to be doing today regarding the Cloudlifter CL1 and the CL-Z. So for this product review, we're going to be doing two tests. The first one is for noise floor. We're going to take the SM7B microphone the way it is, and then we're going to install the CL1 and the CL-Z, and we're going to see if the noise floor of the microphone drops when the level is identical. And I'm going to set that level with white noise, and we're going to then use that white noise to see what the frequency spectrum changes and how it changes, if it changes at all, when we install the Cloudlifter. Let's talk first about the Cloudlifter CL1. It's a metal enclosure with rubber feet. It's got a good weight to it. You can't really press and dent it. I mean, it feels bulletproof. It feels like I could use this as a weapon in a zombie apocalypse, and it's going to still work in the studio after the apocalypse is over and we get back to our daily life. Here's the input and here's the output. How do I know this is the input and the output? Well, signal flow dictates that it starts at the female and goes to the male, just like in our marriage, right? Starts with the female, ends up with the male. And it's activated by phantom power. So that's all it does. I mean, it doesn't need a switch or anything. That's all it is, a very simple box. You plug your XLR here, it goes out there to your preamp, and that's it. The CL-Z has the same solid build quality as the CL1 with the same inputs and outputs. The difference is they include a couple of switches. One of them is the high-pass filter, which allows you to tonally shape this CL-Z from 150 ohms all the way up to 15,000 ohms. We're going to see how that works in reality. It also has an output switch that allows you to go from more to max. We'll see how that works too. So let's get into our test. I'm going to take this Shure SM7B mic and put it about 4 inches off the cone on a JBL LSR 305 studio monitor speaker. Then I'm going to set a level with white noise. Once that level is set, and I know that level is going to be identical on the stock SM7B and with the Cloudlifter CL1 and CL-Z installed, I'm going to then record that white noise, then kill it. When I kill it, you're going to hear the background noise, and we're going to do a comparison and see how those sound. Let's get into it. Now for our second test, we're going to again use white noise. And if you don't know what white noise is, check out that video right there, Colors of Noise, or link down in the description, and it will tell you all about it. But white noise, in short, is all the frequencies in the spectrum at the same intensity. So that way it basically looks spectrally like a straight line. Now, when we play that back in just this microphone, you're going to see what it sounds like standard, stock, if you will. And then if I add the CL1 and then the CL-Z, you're going to see how that tonal shift changes with that white noise on the mic. I don't have to do voiceovers. I don't have to do anything else, just white noise, and you're going to get an idea of what it sounds like. You are currently listening to my voice through this SM7B microphone through this Cloudlifter CL1. Now, when you normally look online and go shopping for an SM7B microphone, it usually is packaged, or they try to sell you a Cloudlifter CL1 at the same time. And the reason why is because they say it does a really good job of lowering the noise floor, because you have to gain it up so high, lowering the noise floor while giving you about 25 dB of clean gain. So that way all it does basically is it drops the noise floor. We're going to see how this works. Let's start with this output level right here. Currently it's on more, and when I flip it up to max, we'll see what it does to my voice when I'm just making a constant noise. Ready? Well, it seems like it changed not just the level of the output, but it sounds like it changed my voice just a little bit. Now for the high pass filter. It's currently in flat mode, which means my voice is not going to be changing a whole lot. To give you an idea, See, my voice is not really changing at all. But if I enable this, okay, so it does more with the highs than it does the lows, or at least to my ears. But we'll see how this actually sounds if I start to talk into it. I'm going to slowly start adjusting this microphone, and we're going to see if the sound quality changes. It sounds to me in my ears like tonally I'm getting a little brighter right now. Like right now, I just lowered it all the way down to 150 ohm mode. And right now, it sounds more like it's stock to me, like almost like I could flip it into flat mode right here. That's about the way it sounds. Maybe there's a little bit of a timbre change, a little bit of a tonal quality shift, but not a whole lot. But right now, if I'm talking directly into this microphone, you're hearing it raw. Now, if I slowly start adjusting this impedance up, and now it's around, let's say, oh, what is that? It's about 1.5K. So if it's around 1.5K, my voice is sounding a little bit higher pitch. It sounds a little brighter than it did before. Now, if I'm going to go up a little bit higher, now I'm right up pretty much at about 12 o'clock, and that's around the 3K mark. As I continue to go up higher, it sounds to me like it's going a little higher and it's shifting my voice a little higher. Now, it almost seemed to overshift it just a little bit. Like if I want to dial in on my voice, it sounds like maybe right there might be the best of all worlds. Like if I go a little bit too far, right there, it almost sounds like there's a little too much, almost borderline harshness because of my voice and the way my voice naturally sounds. But I don't really think I need to have that. I need to back off on the brightness. My voice naturally needs more lows. It doesn't need as much highs. And I think this would be ideal for someone that needs a little more brightness, because it sounds to me like it's increasing the brightness. Like if I were to have someone's voice on there that has a deeper register, like I'll use my bass voice that I have in my 6 voiceover test, and we'll see how it does with that. And I'll run it on each of the main settings there, which is 100, well, I'll tell you when we go.
The quick onyx goblin jumps over the lazy dwarf. The quick onyx goblin jumps over the lazy dwarf. The quick onyx goblin jumps over the lazy dwarf. The quick onyx goblin jumps over the lazy dwarf. The quick onyx goblin jumps over the lazy dwarf. The quick onyx goblin jumps over the lazy dwarf. The quick onyx goblin jumps over the lazy dwarf. The quick onyx goblin jumps over the lazy dwarf. The quick onyx goblin jumps over the lazy dwarf. The quick onyx goblin jumps over the lazy dwarf. The quick onyx goblin jumps over the lazy dwarf.
So if I'm talking directly into this microphone and I slowly start adjusting the impedance knob, I'm going to start increasing the brightness of this microphone activator. And in doing so, my high-pitched sounds in my voice are going to start punching certain words a little stronger. And if I was doing a commercial and I needed to punch and emphasize and I really wanted to sound sharp and make people hear what I'm saying, that's where you would really see that coming into play. But depending on the voice, it can be overpowering. You don't need to just go all extreme, all the way up, in my case right now, 15,000 ohms, I should say, all the way down to 150 ohms. I think for me, if I were trying to do this, I would want to have a little bit of a punch to my voice. Maybe right around there is about what I would go for, personally, for my voice. About a 1.5K boost right there. But I think, to me, that sounds pretty good with this particular CL-Z. So what did you think of my testing? Was that fair? Did I present the CL-1 and CL-Z in an accurate light and compare that to the stock SM7B in a fair way? Before you listen to my opinion, I encourage you to please write in the comment section down below and tell me what you think. So here are my thoughts after testing the CL-1 and the CL-Z. If your preamps are noisier at higher gain settings, then you may need one of these. But if your preamps are quiet, just as quiet as they are at lower levels, then you probably don't need one. Does it actually affect the sound quality? Yes, it does, but it's a very minor sound quality difference. Unfortunately, a lot of lower price recorders do have an issue with hiss at higher gain levels, and that's just because they have to cut the price someplace, and unfortunately, it's got to be someplace in the preamp for that price point. So here's the thing. You can either spend $150 here, $250 here, or spend that money on a higher price recorder and get better preamps. Consider this. Cloudlifters are problem solvers, and if you don't always record at your home studio, then you may want to have one of these to throw in your bag because you don't know what the quality of the preamps are going to be in the places that you're going to be recording. If you have a portable system and you record in a hotel room, you record in your car sometimes, that kind of thing, you might need to have something like this just to make sure your noise floor stays at a minimum. If you're constantly recording in high-end studios, then you don't need to consider it. Do Cloudlifters change the tonal quality of the sound that enters them? Yes, they do. Is it enough to be a deal breaker? Well, that's up for you to decide, but I'll tell you, for me, I would rather have less hiss in the background because I can always equalize my voice how I want it to sound. So between the CL1 and the CL-Z, which one would I grab? Believe it or not, probably the CL-Z, even though I don't have a lot of low end in my voice. A lot of people in voiceover use roll-off, simply rolling off 80 hertz or whatever it is down into infinity or whatever they happen to roll it off to. Now, for me though, I don't have a lot of low end in my voice, but I could use this instead of roll-off and play with the timbre of my voice. And even if I had low end, I could do the exact same thing and get even more out of it. That to me is really cool. I'd like to be able to do that. I like to be able to play with it, especially if I'm on the road and I'm trying to record and I don't have a full studio there and full resources. Yes, I know you can play on your laptop, you can edit on your laptop, dial in your equalization, but you don't always know your recording environment. And I think that having that available to me if I wanted it is a really cool thing to have. If you're using a Shure SM7B, you really should consider getting the CL1 along with it. I think it does a good job of lowering the noise floor without having to overcompensate on the gain. I think that it does not change the tonal quality of the microphone enough to really warrant it as being bad or harsh to the ear or it really negatively affecting it at all. And I think if you can't afford it, you should really consider the CL-Z because I think what it can do and help you tweak out and really dial in on your voice, I think that is a valuable feature to have. If you want to add a little more punch to your voice, especially if you're in a studio environment and you use ribbons, tubes, or dynamic microphones, you really should consider getting that because you don't know who is going to be stepping into your studio and who's what their quality of their voice is going to entail. So strongly consider getting the CL-Z, especially if you're in a studio environment. For home people though, if you do Twitch streaming, if you do gaming, if you do voiceovers, podcasts, something like that, and you use the SM7B, strongly consider the CL1 because I think it's going to give you a benefit with the lower noise floor. I don't think it really sacrifices anything, and that's my honest opinion of it. You can be a judge. Tell me what you think down in the comment section below. But in the meantime, tune into more episodes of Sound Speeds for more product reviews and sound advice. Have a question you'd like answered or want to add something? Be sure to write it in the comment section down below. You can also make a suggestion for future topics of discussion. Again, comment section down below, or you can email me at soundspeeds@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future sound advice.